and just helps drive the point of her character home.
In a match between Asuka and Sasha Banks, the only person that looks great out of it is somebody that's not in the match. Wonderful. That's WWE for you. Uh, in our WWE Championship match, we've got Drew McIntyre against Dolph Ziggler. Right before the match starts, Dolph Ziggler mentions that it's going to be a match that we've never, like, not that we've never seen, but something unlike we've ever seen before. It is an Extreme Rules match, but only Dolph can use weapons and not get disqualified. Whereas if Drew got disqualified, got counted out, he would lose the title. Um, that's a very good. That's very. It's it's kind of a heel kind of trope. Um, but I think they actually worked around that stipulation pretty good. There is one problem in this match, and it's nothing about the work. Both guys worked really hard. McIntyre looked good. Dolph looked good. They put on a good match. Both these guys are pros. Um, and by the end, Drew looks like a freaking beast once again because that's what he's been doing as champion. He's done an excellent job. WWE has done a good job of making him win, um, not only in convincing fashion against guys like Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley, but now the deck was stacked completely against him here, and he comes away with a victory. But I did not believe for 1 second that Dolph was ever going to win this match. That's mainly the thing that hurt it for me.
Yeah, we were saying this during the preview. Every single match on that pay-per-view and on Wednesday Night Wars the last week were all matches where I could give the opposition at least a sliver of a chance to win.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler was a big fat zero. I gotta stop using that symbol. That's zero. There's no chance that Dolph was going to win. And I'll say this: I didn't think too much of the match. Like I like Ziggler, I like McIntyre, but just because of there's no way that Ziggler's going to win, I didn't give the match a whole lot of interest from me. When Ziggler announced what the stipulation was, it dropped it down even more for me. I was like, this is gonna be dumb. It is a typical heel thing. Dax sticked against Drew McIntyre, but like you said, they worked really, really well with the stipulation. It wasn't just I'm gonna have Superman abilities and beat you up, but I still lose. It was a little more cerebral. If Drew was outside the ring too long and counted out, he would lose the title. So Ziggler tried to play Drew McIntyre outside a lot to try and get him counted out, and they had to work around that.
Right.
If Drew used a weapon, he would be disqualified and lose the title. So not only did he have to avoid picking up and using any weapons, Ziggler would also egg him on to try and use weapons. Ziggler set up a table and almost got himself suplexed through it, which would have been a disqualification. That kind of redirected suplex was really, really cool to see. Not half because he was deciding not to go through the table, but also half just because it was interesting to see him change the direction. It's a feat of strength.
That was terrific. I actually really, really like that spot.
Um, I loved that spot. I also loved Drew McIntyre's finish where he kicked up and hit the. Why can't I remember the name of his move now?
Claymore?
Yes, Claymore. He kicked
Yes.
up, hit the Claymore really fast. That looked really, really cool. And Ziggler and Drew did their thing. They looked good. Ziggler sold really well. Drew sold well for still being the hero beast he is here. Uh, I again never thought that Ziggler had a chance, but
They
it was a lot more entertaining than I think it even had the right to be. To be honest,
they tried to make it seem like Ziggler had a chance. He was hitting some big moves towards the end, doubling up on some of his big signature moves, but no dice, no effect for the Scottish psychopath. Um,
yeah, I think Corey mentioned here that Drew is now going to get this pick the stipulation for the next match. What I'd like to see is just something fun and creative to where Drew can just wail away at Ziggler. Even it doesn't have to be a fair fight or a straight fight. I'd like to see um, Ziggler take a beating of some creative chant type here. Also, one other thing to note: when Ziggler was starting to announce his stipulation, the first thing that came to mind was, besides all the stuff he added, I was like, you know, I remember when Team Hell No had or Hell Yes,
Hell no.
Hell No. Okay, I
Yeah.
remember when Team Hell No had a match where they had made stipulation handicaps for themselves. Daniel Bryan wrestled blindfolded or with his head in a sack, and Kane wrestled with his arm tied behind his back. Put those on Drew, make him wrestle blindfolded with one arm tied behind his back. Plus, he doesn't get the benefits of Extreme Rules or Champion's Advantage, just to make it super ridiculous. Although, to be honest, at that point, you'd be a little too handicapped to make it interesting. But that ran through my mind. Overall, I want to give it I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It super impressed me.
I
Again, the only problem was that I knew the winner going into it, like no chance that Ziggler was going to win. And it's hard for me to think of a 5 out of 5 match where one person is handicapped.
yeah.
I want to see the back and forth with an even match to really get the competitive edge out of it.
Yeah, I feel you. I give the match 3.5 out of 5. Good work from both guys. The thing that doesn't make sense to me about their next encounter is that Drew can pick the stipulation. So if Ziggler stacked the deck against Drew and still couldn't win, why are we expected to believe that he has a chance when Drew can realistically stack the deck against Dolph and realistically should stack the deck against Dolph? Like, he really should be going after the same stipulation. Just be like, hey, you did this last time. I'm going to do the same thing to you. You can get disqualified. But I
Yeah,
don't think it's Drew plays the part of honorable champion, so he's probably going to do
here's
something
what I
different.
imagine, and here's what I hope, and this is why I'm not too concerned about it. Like, I really don't think they're trying to set up a match that is competitive at all. What I'd like to see is like Drew say, "I want a strap match because I want to beat the crap out of you," and then we get to see him, with the strap across Ziggler over and over and over.
Yeah.
Uh, Something where we know it's not going to be competitive, so we just want to see something interesting.
So sounds like we both like this match. Um, Again, the stipulation coming out of it, no mention of the title on the line. Oh, dude, that's terrible. Why is well, Dolph doesn't deserve another title shot anyway, so that's okay. Um,
It's
so
funny but true.
so throughout this entire show, I think we've rated every single match a 3 stars or higher, which throughout what 5 matches is really good. Unfortunately, the show, at least for me, I don't know your thoughts, but unfortunately for me, the show did not end here. And for the main events, we get Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman in the Swamp match, non-title. There's no pinfalls or submissions anyway. Like, I didn't write any real notes on this. I just watched this uh, just like about an hour and a half ago, so it is kind of fresh. So obviously, I'm not going to go play by play with it. Um, are you aware of what the Gobbledygooker Award is?
I can guess, but no.
The Gobbledygooker Award is for I forget who has it, but it is the award for uh, just worst thing that happened in wrestling. It's not like somebody dying or anything because that's terrible. It's something like WrestleMania 32 in 2016 was an example in that won the Gooker Award because a lot of people did not think it was a good show. There was controversy around the show because people weren't able to get in. So just had a lot of bad press around it. I don't remember the most recent winners, but I believe in 2017 it was either Jinder Mahal's title reign or the House of Horrors match, I think, won with the Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
Oh, that one.
I
I
hate
didn't hate that as much as everybody else, but it wasn't good.
I hate to say that for this one. I went into it with an open mind. I saw a lot of people didn't like it. I was not a fan of this one, and I've been a fan of WWE cinematic style matches. I think they've done a really good job with uh, pretty much every single one of them. The one I disliked the most, or I liked the least, I should say, was probably Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream. But even then, I thought the setting itself was pretty good. I just don't think the execution went as well as it should have with that match. This one, I think it started off okay. The setting itself, both guys seemed like they're like really sweaty in a swamp. It felt like it was hot outside, so that part I liked. But I think that what it comes down to for me with this match, don't care about Braun Strowman all that much. I don't care about Bray Wyatt, any incarnation of these characters all that much. I'm kind of tired of the character. Um, I'm tired of the dumb horror movie aspects of it. Um, I just wasn't a fan of it, man. And not only that, if to go a little bit further into it, the rest of these things have had really good production. This the the set design was fine, but the production I thought like the actual cutting of everything, like the editing and everything, I it was just like there were so many cuts in this thing. It was so ridiculous. I just wasn't a fan of pretty much every part of it. I just thought on an execution level and just like on a how much do I care about this level, I just thought everything was just bad. That's just me though.
Uh, I want to start by saying with these quote unquote cinematic matches, I feel like there's three different types, and I feel like they should be distinctly different from each other are when we talk about them. This I think was more of a extended vignette than a cinematic match.
Yes.
There's
Very
also
much so.
I also think there's just how would you put it? Edited real-time matches like the Stadium Stampede match, which I know it wasn't edited real-time match. They did do segments and stuff, but it wasn't as cinematic as say like the Graveyard match or Boneyard match,
No, that
where every single segment was edited and cinematic.
yeah,
And
the Stadium Stampede match definitely felt like that was just a long match with just a
yeah,
bunch of segments to it. Yeah.
and then the third category, which I would actually say is the cinematic matches, is more like the Boneyard match. I feel like those are distinctly different from me, and I feel like they need to be played with the type that they are. So this to me was more of an extended vignette, but it was advertised and set up and played off like it was a cinematic match. And
Ve-
I don't think it was, and I feel like that was a big part of its failing.
and that was one of the things they did with John Cena versus Bray Wyatt for WrestleMania too.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Uh, I I was trying to figure two things out. Like it just seemed like it wasn't for me. I lost interest and really didn't care, and it's hard for me to judge it. I feel like it wasn't played. It wasn't played like a match because there wasn't really moves being hit.
no.
It wasn't really like a street fight where they were throwing stuff at each other. It was like the Cena thing, except that there actually was like fighting instead of just mental messing with each other, where they like they were the mysterious people coming out and attacking Braun that were just like little henchmen, but like Bray doesn't have henchmen. I started wondering honestly, and I mean this realistically. I was wondering if those were the uh, Tozawa ninjas attacking him.
that
That also made absolutely no sense.
would have made no sense, but it would have been funny.
It would have been yes, it would have been better than what we got, which was no sense and not funny.
Yeah, it's just random guys.
They
Yeah.
yes, and they took like one Hassan chop, Austin Power style, and they were gone. Uh,
Then there was a dude who got lit on fire who didn't even start screaming. He just kind of was just running around everywhere.
that was stupid enough for me to laugh at, but it was also stupid.
It made like I saw that and just like, dude, this dude's not even selling being put like on fire.
There was yes, like you said, all the jump cuts. I like they weren't scare jumps.
No.
are jump scares because they were like a bunny hopping around. But they keep doing that kind of thing for Bray, and that was Bray's old thing, I guess. It wasn't so much as a new thing. Like when they had the jumps to the earthworms in the middle of the ring when he fought Orton
That
at
was
WrestleMania.
that was bad too. I mean,
I
I think we all kind of thought it was kind of awesome whenever we saw it live. Now you look back on it, it's just like, dude, what was
I
that?
thought it was a cool idea. I thought it was not performed well. Like having the projection into the ring was cool. Having mind games with Bray is cool, but it's so out there and nonsensical that it's just like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So this whole thing, like, what's some more words I can use to describe it? Because I'm kind of failing. They
Poop. That's my words.
uh there wasn't really like a finish. There was like, oh,
Not really.
I guess Braun hit him enough times, and then the logo flashes, and then Bray reached up, and you kind of see like it's dark, and you don't see exactly what's happening, and you see his tattoo, and I didn't see Bray's beard, I guess, because it was wet, so it was all matted. I I honestly, literally thought that Orton came out of nowhere in the swamp and hit an RKO on Strowman, which again would make absolutely no sense. But I thought that was Randy Orton's tattoo, uh, and the way he delivered the kind of the neck breaker from the boat is what it looked like. And I was like, okay, are they setting something up? But Orton didn't finish his feud with the Big Show, but that's because they didn't film it well.
Yeah,
With the,
I didn't. I agreed with that. I actually didn't think that the end was like I could barely see. You couldn't even see anything.
exactly,
Yeah,
uh, it it didn't make sense, and it was a vignette. It was, I guess, promoting that Bray Wyatt does really spooky things, but he only does it when during vignettes because it's not realistic enough to try and set up into an actual live thing.
yeah.
It did nothing for Braun Strowman. It really didn't do much for Bray Wyatt except establish that he's spooky and has weird powers. But
That's already been established.
yes, I don't see the purpose of this at all. I don't know why it was. Well, I mean, it was the last thing on TV because it was a vignette.
Yeah.
Uh, if there wasn't a better place to put it, but it was billed like it top billing for this show. It was a disappointment when I didn't have big expectations, and I still struggle to see the significance of it. So if I haven't explained it well enough yet, I don't understand it. I'm not going to give it a rating because it wasn't even a match.
If I gave it a rating, I think you know where I would be going with it. And it's
It'd be in
unfortunate.
the yeah.
I don't hate, but I don't like dislike both guys. I like Strowman. I just think there's more to explore as far as him as champion. Um, I knew exactly that they were going to be going so far with this Bray Wyatt storyline as soon as he started feuding with them. And I thought like this is going to be like a 3-4 month long feud, and it's gonna be dumb. And so far, I'm not wrong, and that's me kind of putting out my expectations before anything happens, which I shouldn't be doing. But it's hard to help it.
Yeah, as far as Braun goes, you've talked about a few times, so I want to get my 2 cents in. I feel like he has more to grow into, and they haven't really had him growing at all. They've just had him stand there and be the same thing. I feel like they were moving in that direction when they were building him to fight Brock, where they were having him do ridiculous feats of strength that were semi believable, and even if they weren't believable enough, they were still fun enough to watch.
Yeah,
Where he was
absolutely.
lifting
Ambulances.
ambulances, lifting like 18 wheelers, like tilting the Titantron or whatever else he pushed over. Um, that was building him to being, the giant, huge, strong man that he is.
And
Uh,
those are things to like pop the crowd too. And
it
the
was.
crowd was reacting to all that kind of stuff.
They've
They're
stopped that. They
yeah.
just have him being like, okay, he is what he is. He doesn't need to prove himself anymore. I I don't feel like that's the case. He doesn't have much of a personality.
No.
It's softened from the extreme that it was, and I feel like while he's holding the championship, at least as long as they want him to have it, he should be building and building and building. I feel like Drew, every time he puts on a match as a champion, he's building himself as being as being very charismatic on the mic, uh, and building himself as being a beast in the ring. And I
Yes.
feel like it's both stuff that they haven't done with Braun.
In my opinion, I think the best thing that you can do with Braun, and it's because there's really, I don't think there's anybody on the SmackDown roster that's as big as him, like physically. I want to see him as a cocky babyface going up against somebody who's a heel. And I mean, we've seen it with the Keith Lee versus Gargano and Keith Lee versus Adam Cole matches, where now Keith Lee wasn't cocky. He was, he came into the match and was, he was himself. But I want to see Braun be a little bit cocky, but then kind of take for granted his smaller opponent who can try to break him down. Like it'd be tough. It's gonna be tough with Daniel Bryan because he's so much smaller than Braun. But could you imagine how good of a match those two could have, especially if Braun just like, I'm not gonna take you seriously. You're so small. But they don't do it in a condescending way like with the Shorty Gable stuff where they actually call him Shorty Gable.
Yeah,
Where you could add a little dimension to the Braun Strowman character that he's really confident. But then Daniel Bryan just like, look, I've got so much experience. I've got a lot of submissions. I know ways to chop down the big redwood tree, and I'm gonna do it. And I
you
think
know
that I think that would make things a lot more interesting. Or you could have someone like Matt Riddle just be like, I might be smaller than you, but I can tear you apart limb from limb. Or AJ Styles, AJ Styles would be like, well, screw you, big boy, I'm gonna whoop your butt because
now that you mentioned
that
that
would be that's
too,
his character.
Big Show came back for the feud with Orton, and it wasn't built very fast. I mean, it was built very fast. It wasn't built very slow. But Big Show came back. He had one little segment, and he established himself very well, the same way that I'd like to see Braun established, except that Braun doesn't have quite the veteran legacy that
Right.
Big Show does, where he just kind of stepped up and was like, "Sorry, boys, I'm going to just take the mic out of your hand because I'm a vet and I'm pulling rank on you. Leave." Because you're not going to do anything to me because I'm a big badass who's going to kick your ass if you try to do anything, and I have the locker room presence to that you're not going to, you know, get people against me. That kind of cockiness. That if Braun had that, if Braun evolved into that, even if he's younger, it'd just make him seem a little more cockier and less deserving. That would be perfect.
The main thing that I take away from this Strowman and Bray Wyatt feud is that it makes it seem like that Bray Wyatt is really digging into the character of Braun Strowman. He really hasn't. Braun
Well,
Strowman is still the same guy at the beginning that he is now.
I was just about to
Maybe he
say,
changes because he was in that lake or whatever it was, but who knows?
yeah, I mean, so far that seems to be like what they're trying to play. Like they don't really seem to be building Bray here either. They seem to be like, we don't know what to do with Braun. Let's put Bray on him because if they want Bray to be legitimate, they need to have him fight some smaller people, get in their head to do his spooky thing and win matches, which is what they were doing when they initially built him up to beating Rollins. What they're doing here, though, is just having him use mind games, not actually beat anybody up, but also not lose. So they're just extending the feud or the storyline. And as far as Braun goes, like the first match, it didn't seem like he was possibly falling for it. It just seemed like he was playing Bray and then beat him up. And
Yeah,
that really could have been the end of it. But they have the next match here where it still doesn't seem like he's falling for anything, but he gets pulled into the lake. So maybe something's there. But it still, again, doesn't seem like it's changed anything. And it's been however many months and 2 pay-per-views.
yeah. I hope we like after SummerSlam. I hope we get onto something different with Braun Strowman. Who knows what it is? Hopefully, we get something different from Bray Wyatt as well. Who knows what it is? But yikes, man! I was not a big fan of this thing.
Yeah. So what do you think of the pay-per-view overall?
I gave it a C plus. Wrestling really good. A couple, at least just I would say maybe like two bad finishes, but then if this was a little bit better, I would actually give the show like more of a B minus or B. But I thought it stunk, and it's tough. whenever you have something like that in the show and it ends the show on such a down note, at least for me, it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So if this was in the middle of
Yeah,
the show, it might be a little, it might have came off a little differently.
rating the pay per view overall is where I think I can really ding it because, like we've said, I liked a lot of the individual matches. I liked a lot of the parts in the individual matches. I liked a lot of the actual wrestling and ring work. I didn't like a lot of the endings. I didn't like that a lot of the endings were similar to each other.
Yes.
Uh, so I'm gonna say overall, honestly, this makes sense to me, and it may not make sense to you. So I'm gonna explain this. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5,
Okay.
and here's why. I liked a lot of the individual work, and I can't ding. Like I said, I can't ding them all because individually, I don't look at this match and say like I didn't really like the ending. That's one thing, but saying like this ending was too much like that ending, and they shouldn't be together. I can complain about that, but for each individual match, they don't really affect each other. I should look at each individual match by itself. But as a pay per view overall, I do look at all those matches. I look at all the things that play into each other. You want to see in a pay per view the matches kind of build off each other. If you have an ultra long pay per view like WrestleMania, then maybe you want high spots and low spots so that keep you entertained and interesting throughout.
Yes.
But as far as this one goes, there was good match and then bad ending, good match and bad ending, good match and bad ending. They're clashing with each other, and then it ends with the vignette that was just mind boggling. So as far as the pay per view goes, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 because the flow of the pay per view was just awful.
No, I feel you. I think a lot of people are kind of feeling that same way. I was a little bit nicer on the pay per view because I was surprised at some of the matches at how good they actually were, and there was some good like the table match had a good finish. The Drew McIntyre Dolph Ziggler match had a good finish. Drew just throwing everything at or Dolph throwing everything at the wall to knock down Drew, but Drew ends up kind of sneaking away from with the victory. Um, that was a fine finish, but everything else is just kind of like I didn't mind the finish in the Bayley versus Nikki Cross match, but I know those kind of finishers are kind of polarizing. But again, though, too, like you have two angles on Raw now that are who's the actual champion? Is it who's the actual U.S. champion? Who's the actual Raw Women's champion?
That's what I mean. Yes.
It's like, why would you have like two of the same thing on the same show? You have two instances where the heels are cheating um, on the show, so it takes away from like whenever it happens the first time, it's just like, okay, I see it, makes sense. Whenever it happens the second time, it's the law of diminishing returns. The more you do it, the less effective it's going to be. So that's really where I think that issue comes into play. So, if you have more to add to it, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say. Last up is the Wednesday Night Wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's it for our Extreme Rules review. Not a terrible show, just some things that we didn't like, some things that we did like. Um, we'll move on. We're on the road to SummerSlam now, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, hopefully they build up for some good matches. It's not just a bunch of rematches of what we just saw at Extreme Rules.
Yeah. So we do have the Wednesday Night War preview. I'm gonna rely on you for this one. I only know of like a few things.
Okay, so yes, Wednesday Night Wars. Sorry, let me adjust my camera so I can both read and be on camera. So AEW is not AEW. NXT is advertising their big matches: Karrion Kross versus Dijakovic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of interested because I've liked Dijakovic as he's grown here. Karrion Kross is still an oddity to me. I need to see what he's about, and this is his first kind of. It isn't his first real or big match because he had the match against Ciampa. It was still kind of a slightly competitive squash match. I
Yeah.
honestly expect this to be kind of the same way, but I'm not sure. Dijakovic for I want to something I want to see too is this Dijakovic. Can he put on a great match against somebody besides Keith Lee?
That's true too.
Because because yes, when I first saw him, I was like, I don't really like this dude. Then he was putting on insanely great matches against Keith Lee. They've gotten uh, what's his name involved with him too, the Archer of Infamy,
Uh,
and they
Damian Priest. That's it.
Priest. There he is,
Yeah.
Priest. They've gotten him involved too, and they've done good things with him. But we'll see how it goes here. We also have Regal making a quote unquote huge announcement. Absolutely no idea what that might be. I think you were talking about possibly a takeover announcement, but I feel like
That's normally my guess, but I think it's going to be something different. But I have no
I
idea.
feel like it would be too. They do announce the takeovers, but usually they don't make it a specific thing that they advertise.
Yeah.
We have Shotzi Blackheart versus Aaliyah, sorry. I kind of like Aaliyah as being part of the Robert Stone brand. I didn't really care about her beforehand, but they've kind of worked together well. Shotzi's kind of annoyed me, although they keep pushing her. I don't really hate her, but she's kind of annoying.
Robert Stone's been pretty good
Yeah.
on NXT. He's been pretty funny.
And then we have Dexter Loomis versus Killian Dane. I'm really interested because I like Dexter Loomis. I also like Killian Dane. They haven't used Killian Dane nearly enough.
No, I agree with that. Killian Dane's awesome.
I'm really not sure if they're wanting, because they've been like giving time to Killian Dane like he's legit, but they haven't had him actually win anything. Loomis, they've also been giving time and building him like he's legit, but they've given him losses too to Undisputed Era more than I would have imagined. So I'm not exactly sure what to expect here, but it should be a good match.
And then was that it for NXT?
That's all they advertise for NXT, but they always have a couple more matches built in there.
That's true. And then AEW, Cody is going to defend the TNT title against a mystery opponent. They have been building that up as a like highly renowned independent wrestler. I'm not sure who that would be. Who hasn't?
I don't have any idea.
Who hasn't been in trouble from speaking out?
Too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And who's already in the U.S. because you can't travel between countries at the moment.
So. But I'm interested to see who that's going to be. Damien said that would be awesome.
I really don't think so, but that would be awesome.
And then Jon Moxley is going to appear. Jon Moxley was also on the Dan Le Batard show. He might have just been working everybody, but he did say that on Dynamite there's going to be a really good surprise. And he also said that we're going to see a really, really good match on the show. He might be talking about the Young Bucks against the Butcher and the Blade in a is it no holds barred match? It looks like, so that should be fun. Falls Count Anywhere. Never know. You might see some wild stuff. They might get to the football field. Who knows?
I'm really interested in that match. They've that is like a pay-per-view quality match there. Bucks is always high up on the card, and Butcher and Blade have really built themselves in the last couple of matches that they've done.
And then I'm going to actually look up a tweet from Mr. Hangman Page because he said something funny about promoting his match.
I don't remember what it was, but I did see that too.
Let's see. Hangman Page. It says, "Tonight I am wrestling a man whose name is just the number 5 on TNT at 8 p.m. So he's wrestling a guy from the Dark Order.
Yes. Brody Lee is supposed to be there, apparently.
I guess so, yeah.
They're all numbers. I was watching AEW Dark. They had 4 and 3 versus some sort of squash tag team.
Did you watch the segment that I sent you yesterday?
I didn't get to because you sent it to me while I was at work. I still need to do that.
It was pretty funny. Stu Grayson and one of the other... there's another guy who's bald and got big blonde beard, kind of like me, actually.
Yeah, those two were teaming up.
Yeah, those two were arguing with each other, and one of them said that Stu Grayson is like, look at this really, really ugly guy right here or something, and then finally someone's like, you guys both look the same. And And you look at it, it's like, yeah, both these guys are bald. There was another segment I saw where they're trying to get Nyla Rose to join the. It was this tag team Reynolds, and I forgot the other guy's name, but these guys have been pretty funny on Being the Elite. They were trying to get Nyla Rose to join the Dark Order. They brought the Kool-Aid to her like in a cafeteria, and she's like, I don't know if I should drink your Kool-Aid. Like, all right, let me try it. And then she brought out this like really big silly straw and put it in her water bottle. And then, well, she also like they he took like one of the guys took like a scoop of the Kool-Aid and put it into her water bottle. And Nyla Rose like, you're making a mess. You're getting powder everywhere. What are you guys doing? And she took out the big silly straw, and both those guys were like, no way, no way. Silly straw, you can't get you. We can't have you in here. There's no silly straws. It's so ridiculous. Vicky Guerrero, Nyla Rose's manager. That's true. I forgot about that. That should be fun.
Yeah, I love to hate that ear piercing screech.
All right, guys. So I think that's going to be it for our show this week. Next week, we'll be going over some news and notes over the upcoming week, going over Wednesday Night War stuff once again. Hopefully, we'll find out a little bit more on the SummerSlam card as well. Should have a good match on Raw. Don't know what we got. Oh, we got the bar fight on SmackDown between Sheamus and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I mean, that's supposed to be a pay-per-view quality match, so we'll see what that is.
That's true. But did you have anything else to add?
AEW is supposed to have Taz talk about throwing in the towel, which is interesting.
That's true too. I forgot about that.
And MJF is supposed to fight somebody, but that's probably just going to be some weird squash match. So not. Besides that, no, I'm just hyped. Oh yeah, right. I think I want to watch AEW tonight because Bucks versus Butcher and the Blade is probably the best match on the show. Cody always puts on a good match, and I am interested in NXT, but I'll probably catch that later. But AEW is my vote for tonight.
If I had to pick, I'm not sure. I'm really interested to see what the NXT announcement is, but at the same time, I'm also interested to see who is facing Cody, and the Jon Moxley stuff too sounds like it'd be fun. So I think both nights are gonna be good. I'll call it a push. I want to watch both.
Otherwise, I say check out our YouTube because again, I want to put up a singles match on there talking about how the individual shows should lead into the pay-per-view and what should be on the shows. Just kind of my outline of how it should work. Check out our Twitters, which is the same as our Twitch handles, I believe. Mine is that Matt85.
And I am John Bear Gaming. If you guys haven't followed us already, make sure to do so. Make sure to stay connected.
Yes, not only do we just put out interesting stuff about what we were talking about, we also link to any of our YouTube posts that we post. We also will let you know of our schedule if there's anything updates you need to know about.
Absolutely. All right, so I think that's going to do it for our show there. We're going to raid a friend of ours, a fellow Cardinal fan. His name is Centurion Greg. I don't know if we have a ton in here. I can't see how many viewers we got. But make sure to go hang out with Centurion Greg. He is grinding for Twitch affiliate, so make sure to drop him a follow. Go hang out with him. Go help him reach affiliate. And we will see you guys next week.